Hey everyone, I just wanted to share with you a very short video and stir up some thoughts. I have the honour and the privilege, and it is a real privilege, to work with many people in the line of work that I do. And over the years, one of the things that I've often found is that when I kind of sit with someone, when I have that kind of honour and privilege, because it really is, because I've grown so much through working with the most amazing, and I want to say the most courageous people that I've worked with throughout my career, which is around about 26 years now. And I kind of look back to who I was then and who I am now. It's been such a huge journey. Every kind of time I sit with someone, there's always a sense of I'm growing too, I'm learning too, and I think that's a really kind of beautiful way to kind of move through life, is kind of growing from those interactions that you have with those around you and those you come into contact with. And over the years, I kind of, when I say courageous, I really mean that, because quite often when I kind of sit with someone, they are in a major crossroads within their life, or they're in a major kind of crisis, or they're in major transformation. And in a way, you kind of really nurturing and kind of assisting and holding that space for them to kind of almost give birth into an absolute new way of living and a new way of being. And fundamentally at the heart of that is a new kind of awareness and a new perspective to where they find themselves. And quite often at the heart of that is a sense of, somewhere along the line, they've lost sight of who they are. There's a sense of feeling kind of, completely lost and very raw. Is if all the layers have just kind of fallen away, and they find themselves in a place of all that kind of deeper honesty from inside of them is rushing up to the surface. There's a sense of no longer can they lie to themselves. And I think that's kind of an incredible privilege to work with people in that way. And one of the things that I often kind of drive home is what's happened is they've lost a very strong, solid sense of self. And one of the ways that we lose our sense of self is not affirming or asserting strong, healthy boundaries. There was this beautiful quote that I read over the last few days that says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. So how do you feel about disappointing others? And how do you feel about being disappointed yourself? Another beautiful quote, Dr. Seuss so brilliantly said, be who you are. So be who you are and say what you feel. Because those who mind don't matter. And those who matter don't mind. And I think it's really important. What that's really saying, what's really driving home, is that it's all about being your true, authentic self, and not being, the first quote, not being afraid to set those boundaries. Because actually setting those boundaries, there's a part of you that is absolutely honouring and respecting you and your sense of self. As I say, in my practice as a holistic consultant and a medium, I've had the privilege to work with many people. And as I say, just sometimes I feel that, underneath all that feeling of kind of lost, that feeling of really unsure to where they are and who they are, it sometimes comes from those boundaries not being kind of reinforced, not having that sense of self. And at the heart of that, what drives that often is this innate feeling and this desire to absolutely please another. You know, this innate kind of feeling to please another. And I often quite find as we begin to work, we normally are able to identify the root cause of that when it started to happen. You know, as the innate often says, we kind of, in a way, we repeat what isn't fixed. It just kind of repeats itself. Every situation we repeat is an absolute opportunity to heal and to transform, and in a way to do things differently. You know, it may not seem like it, but at that kind of, when that experience kind of turns up again in a different form, in a different way, it's an absolute gift to do things differently, and to learn from it and to grow from it, and most importantly to transform those wounds into something that's kind of valuable, you know, something that's kind of golden in a way. It's all about kind of nurturing that experience, and it's not always easy, but when that kind of pattern repeats itself, when it shows up again, it's an opportunity to change it. You know, many of you know I kind of work with the holistic mediumship, which for me is fundamentally different to mainstream mediumship. For me, this is holistic orientated. It's kind of therapy based. I work with the cards, and the cards are, for me, a very, very powerful tool. And quite often I turn the cards and they're sitting in the position of what needs to be done is this card. Okay, the no card. You know, every card I kind of work with has an intention, it has a position. You know, and when this card comes up in the kind of position of what needs to be done, you know, that's a strong validation in a very powerful visual format, reinforcing the message. You know, as I say, I use these cards as a tool. For me, it's all about approaching all of this in a solution-orientated way rather than prediction-based. The cards, for me, are a call to action. You know, each card has an intention. The first, what needs to be done. The second, identifying the challenge, the problem. The third, moving towards a solution. The fourth being possible outcomes, and the fifth being the key card. It's what I call the 5-card system. Very, very simple, but yet every one of those cards is a call to action, from identifying what needs to be done, the challenge, the problem, the solution, possible outcomes, and the key card. So, you know, picture this, the no card sitting there. Think about it in life. We often say yes automatically. It's almost as if it's a deep, hardwired response, saying yes to everything. As a good friend of mine says, Matt from Golden Glow Healing, who have the kind of privilege and honour to spend many kind of hours out there in the great outdoors on a bike, or sitting around a fire, very kind of a part of each other's worlds. You know, he often says to me, you know, when you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to another. So when you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to another. So what are you saying no to by saying yes? Okay, when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another. What are you saying no to by saying yes? Normally, you're saying then no to time for you, or some time you've planned for yourself. So how about creating a stop and a pause, and instead of saying yes, create that stop and that pause and reflect. Give yourself some space and time to really ask yourself, do I want to say yes to that? So, you know, in a way, ask yourself, give yourself that time, and what you can do is reply by saying, do you know what, can I just get back to you on that? Which gives you that stop and that pause to reflect, to figure out where you are in that, you know. And the key question is Is it healthy for you? Is it healthy for that other person? Okay. A simple, even deeper, okay, so we can go underneath the layers with this, an even more kind of powerful and a more simpler way to approach this is, if it's not an absolute yes, it's a no. Okay, so if you haven't got an absolute yes, it's a no. And the only way you're going to know that is by giving yourself a pause and a moment in time. So if it's not an absolute yes, then it's a no. How simple is that? It truly does strip it back, keeps it simple and really uncomplicates it. And I think that's a really, really important, because quite often we get lost in all this kind of complication. We feel like we've got to please everybody, but everyone else kind of benefits from you, but the one person that isn't benefiting from you is you. Okay, so that approach, if it isn't an absolute yes, it's a no, simplifies it. Okay, and yes, some people are going to be upset by that, because they've been able to kind of maybe pull on your energy, they've been able to gain in one form or another, and maybe it's been more about them than it is about you. So last few thoughts, okay, keep your circle, okay, so keep your circle tight. Be around those who lift you and inspire you rather than drain you. The ones that I'm talking about. They're the ones that whenever you receive a text on your phone, you think, oh, not now. Or, I'd rather you hadn't. Or, they're the type of people that when they ask you about you, but before you've even had the chance or opportunity to answer, they start telling you about themselves. Okay? Identify where those leaks, where those drains are in your world, and kind of fortitude it, foster and nurture a sense of healthy boundaries. The way the Nate put this is, if you had a beautiful garden and you had a beautiful house and a beautiful garden, and within that garden you were growing vegetables and it was full of wild flowers, you just wouldn't allow everyone and anyone to come running across it. You'd put a fence around it and you put a gate around it, and that fence and that gate allows you to enjoy that garden, okay, and also allows you to protect it. You wouldn't just allow anyone to run across it, would you? You put a fence there and you put a gate there. Okay, so things to just consider. So here's the question: who are you trying to avoid disappointing? Who are you trying to avoid disappointing? Okay, the clues are all in there within this video. Okay, as we go forward, so look at it this way: this week requires some strength and bravery. So here's a thought: what is the one choice you would like to make but you aren't doing it because you are afraid of disappointing others? What is the one choice you would like to make but you aren't because you are afraid of disappointing others? There you go, that's food for thought, guys. As I say to you, next time that phone pings and you see it is, check in to how you're feeling. Is it raising you? Is it rising you? Or does it leave a kind of a dropping feeling or a feeling of dread? They're all signs, they're all signals to how that person is affecting your energy, and then gently ask yourself why. Okay, it's all about becoming aware. Leave that with you as always. Those of you who are watching this via my Facebook page, you can find a whole wealth of resources on my YouTube channel if you search Shane Gadd. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can find all my daily content on my Facebook page, which is Spirit Meets Adventure. Links are within this video. See you all very soon, guys. Take care. Bye bye.